During the 1960s, KGB agents developed a weapon disguised as a tube of lipstick. Nicknamed the Kiss of Death, it housed a single-shot 22 caliber round. Female agents could carry it undetected and use it in close encounters, press the bottom, and it fired. Western intelligence discovered it during a search of a captured Soviet agent in West Berlin. It wasn't mass-issued, but it proved how far the Soviets were willing to go to weaponize everyday objects. CIA agents operating behind enemy lines carried a small plastic capsule, hidden where no one would check. Inside were lockpicks, a wire saw, and other escape tools. It was officially called the Escape and Evasion Kit, but agents just called it the pill. If captured, you had one shot to free yourself from handcuffs or a cell before interrogation started. It was as uncomfortable as it was vital. The Soviets loved disguise, and their F-21 camera was a marvel of miniaturization. Hidden inside a coat button, it could snap black and white images through a tiny lens. Agents simply pressed a concealed remote in their pocket to take a picture. It was often used in embassies and hotels to quietly gather intel on Western officials. To the naked eye, it just looked like someone adjusting their jacket. Spies couldn't just hand over secrets. They needed secure, silent ways to exchange information. Enter the dead drop spike, a waterproof cylindrical metal container designed to be buried in dirt, snow, or rubble. It carried documents, microfilm, cash, or coded notes, and could be retrieved later by another agent without direct contact. Both the CIA and KGB relied heavily on dead drops to avoid being compromised. Agents used elaborate codes to mark or signal nearby drops, like chalk marks, newspaper folds, or chewing gum on a lamppost. If placed well, a spike could sit undisturbed for weeks, or even years. In 1978, Bulgarian dissident Georgy Markov was walking across Waterloo Bridge in London when he felt a sharp sting in his leg. He thought little of it until 3 days later, when he died suddenly in the hospital. An autopsy found a tiny metal pellet filled with ricin, a lethal toxin, injected by a modified umbrella. British intelligence linked it to the KGB and Bulgaria's secret police. It became one of the Cold War's most infamous assassinations, and proof that even an everyday object could be turned into a silent, deadly weapon. In the 1970s, the CIA built a prototype drone the size of a dragonfly. It had tiny wings powered by a gas engine and was designed to carry a listening device. Called the Insectothopter, it was a real-life sci-fi experiment. But it never saw field use. Wind made it impossible to control. Still, it showed how early spy agencies were already thinking about micro-drones. In 1960, the Romanian secret police gifted a custom-made pair of leather shoes to the U.S. ambassador. Hidden in the heel was a miniature microphone and transmitter, powered by a long-life battery. As the ambassador walked and spoke, the shoe relayed conversations to nearby surveillance teams. He wore them for months before technicians discovered the hidden hardware. It's one of the earliest and weirdest examples of bugged clothing. Designed by the Stasi, East Germany's brutal secret police, this weapon looked like an ordinary leather briefcase, but inside was a submachine gun with the trigger mechanism hidden in the carrying handle. With one hand, an agent could aim the case, press the handle, and fire multiple rounds without ever opening it. It was intended for high-risk close protection or targeted assassinations in public spaces. The briefcase gun was silent, portable, and highly discreet. In crowded areas, it gave an agent the power of a firearm without attracting a single glance. The CIA's pen camera hid a 35mm film camera inside a working fountain pen. With a subtle press or twist, an agent could snap a photo of documents, rooms, or people in complete silence. These were used during meetings, at conferences, and even in hostile territory. The images were surprisingly sharp and could be developed quickly for analysis. For decades, it remained one of the agency's most discreet and reliable tools for on-the-go surveillance. In 1945, Soviet schoolchildren gifted the U.S. ambassador a wooden plaque of the Great Seal of the United States, a seemingly innocent gesture. The ambassador hung it on his office wall, where it remained for 7 years. Hidden inside was a passive listening device powered externally by a microwave beam directed from across the street. No batteries, no wires, just pure physics. It was one of the first resonant cavity microphones, completely undetectable by the technology of the time. When U.S. experts finally found it, they realized the Soviets had been eavesdropping on classified conversations since World War II. Long before drones, there were pigeons, trained birds equipped with tiny automatic cameras strapped to their chests. As they flew over enemy buildings or military installations, the cameras took photos at preset intervals. Both the CIA and Soviet forces tested pigeon surveillance extensively. Accuracy depended on weather and the bird's training, but the results were sometimes impressive, providing aerial shots no pilot or satellite could safely capture. It was low-tech, unpredictable, and strangely effective. In one sense, these pigeons were the world's first uncrewed spy aircraft. To the Soviets, even spare change could carry secrets. They built hollow coins with hidden compartments to store microfilm, invisible ink, or deadly poisons. In 1953, a young paperboy in New York accidentally dropped one, and it cracked open. Inside was a piece of film with a mysterious coded message. The FBI traced the coin back to a Soviet spy network operating inside the U.S. It became one of the earliest pieces of physical evidence that the Cold War wasn't just fought overseas. It was being waged on American soil.